guys, it's After Club, and today we're going over a Diamond Fire tutorial. I said I would do one of these shortly, and now I have. So it's right now Halloween, so that's why the hub looks very Halloweenish. So let's get into the plot. This is me playing the plot. There's not really much here. I'm gonna test out one thing. So let's go into dev mode by doing mode dev, and you can do mode build to build, to go into build mode, and mode play to play your play. So to start off with basics, I put here a little thing called right click to teleport. So the player will right click this, and they'll teleport to where this other block is. So we're gonna do that. Before we go do that, well, that's our final thing we want to do. But before we do that, let's start. We want to get into the basics of how all this works. I actually don't know what this upper half really does. I only know about the mob action and maybe if entity. Actually pretty cold right now. So let's start by putting player events. Player events starts the code of something. Basically, if the player right clicks. Everything that happens for right clicking will go to that event. Basically, you want to start by placing your player event. Right click it, the little sign, and you'll get a GUI saying player events. Let's put join. When the player joins, basically. And if player is like, if the player does this, meaning it doesn't just happen to the player. The player has to do something in order for this to happen. Like if they sneak, if they hold, if they have item, if they're holding an item, if they have an item, and they're looking at a block, they're standing on a block, they're near, they're wearing, and name equals, which I don't actually know what it is. So that's if player, but we're not going to use this. So let's just say the original spawn is here, but we want to change that. We want to change it to, let's say here, let's just change that to this one. We want to put something called the player action. The player action is something that the game will do to the personal player. It won't happen to every player, only one player. So let's teleport them. And you see it says location under that. And like this one says text, and this one says none, and this one says sound effect. We want to go into this thing called variable items. Go ahead and right click that. And since it said we can get a location, we want to right click this and drag it back here. Then we want to go find the block we need to know, which is in case this block. Right click it, and that will be set the location. And the location is actually where your feet will go. So like if the player teleports somewhere, that's where their feet will teleport to, not their head. So you want to make sure you don't right click the paper, because that will think that this is the coordinate you want. So don't right click it. Put it in there. And now when we spawn, let's do mode play. We'll actually spawn here and not where the original spawn was. But I want to make it so okay, let's go over the basics. Okay, now we have the game action. The game action is something actually pretty cool. I'm not going to use it, but the game action will do something to the game, not to any player, but actually to the game. So, hope you guys understand that. And then the code warp block. This is actually very confusing for most people. So I'm going to go explain it. So, basically, let's just say you got to the end of the coding space, like you got to that very edge, the stone, there, you can see it, and you want to code more. Well, you can set it to code warp to 1, and then wherever you put the next code warp, you want to put the code warp somewhere else, and set that to 1. This is basically like continuing the code. It's adding more space there, and code warp. And normally when you spawn, you won't see this up there. You want to do /plot code space, /plot code space, like that. And then, yeah, so that's how the code warp block works. Last, and yeah, So I said I wanted to get something done, which was to make a teleportation. So when the player right clicks there, they teleport. So let's set let's make a new player event called when the player right clicks. And to put a player event right click, you have to be 2 blocks away. So player event right click. If that player, like, it doesn't have to happen to the player must do something for this to happen. So if the player looks at the block, and then it requires location, and the other stuff don't link. So if the player is looking at either the Pacific block by using the location, for example, let's just say we want it to be this exact block, not all the typed looking blocks, and I'll explain why. But if you put in simply red sand in this block or location, all the red sand that you put everywhere will do the same thing. But if you want it to make it so only that red sand does it, then you do location. Anyways, if looking at that block, the player will teleport. But before that, let's send message. It will say, oh, so we'll say this: teleporting, please wait. So I didn't actually mean to. Then the game, it says wait, you'll teleport it. We need to do a game action wait because the game needs to wait. And the amount of we need a number, and the number that we set to, for example, like 50, 40, will be how many ticks it waits. So a tick is actually really fast, like, and then it will teleport them. Right click the variable items, location, and here's the location, and also it will play a sound effect. So we go into variable items again, then we get the sound effect, right click that, and then we can choose whatever we want. But I'm going to choose the teleport because it's like they're teleporting. Now let's play our masterpiece, and sorry if you didn't understand that. So right click to teleport. You're teleporting, please wait. Okay. I can click it so many times. That's actually really weird. So that is actually how you do it. If you need any help, please tell me in the comment section down below. But yeah, that's how I code my plots. If you enjoyed, please remember to like or subscribe, and I'll see you next time. So goodbye. LOLOLOLOL. LOLOLOLOL. LOLOLOLOL.